Hello, everybody, and good morning. It is your girl, Dion Nicole. Happy New Year, everybody. It's been a minute. I know the holidays have come and gone. You haven't seen my cooking video. You haven't seen the family time videos that I've been trying to put out. You haven't seen a lot. Well, I've been busy, but I'm back. I am back for 2022. I am here for it, and I am going to catch up. So we'll just be looking at some things later on from the past, but it's okay. But right now we are going to start a new series called Surviving Narcissism, because narcissism is a very important subject that I want to tell you about. Some of you may already know about it, but if not, we're going to break it down. You might say, narcissism, when I describe it, I know about that, but I didn't know it had a name. It does have a name. And you need to know how to deal with it and cope with it when it's around you, in your relationships, in your daily life. How do you survive narcissism? We'll talk about it right here on Dion Nicole Inspire. Have you ever wondered that you're being beat up on? Have you ever wondered, why can't I explain myself? Have you ever wondered, haven't I explained this already? Have you ever wondered, man, I'm just getting pounded. I'm getting beat up on mentally, emotionally, with words. Have you ever wondered, but what about me? Does anybody show me any empathy? Why am I always the one to blame? If you've ever felt that way, or if you know of these feelings, then you might know a little bit about narcissism. Narcissism is extreme self-involvement to the degree that it makes a person ignore the needs of those around them. While everyone may show occasional narcissistic behavior, true narcissists frequently disregard others or their feelings. They also do not understand the effect that their behavior has on other people. Everyone that shows narcissist traits is not necessarily a narcissist. We all know people that have been a little arrogant or self-centered at times, but does that necessarily make them a narcissist? I would say no. That's why it's important to understand what the disorder really is. And it's important just to know that there is a disorder. I promise when I read all of this information and did research on this a while back, it really enlightened me and opened up my eyes to what I used to deal with and what a lot of people deal with. And some people deal with it on a regular basis because of narcissists in their family or narcissists in their relationships, or sometimes you might have a narcissist spouse. You have to be aware of these disorders. You have to be aware of these traits so that when you do marry, date someone, choose a partner, you are aware, business partner, associate, whatever. You really need to know what you're dealing with. And I think this is important because if you know anything about me or this channel, we're here to inspire you, to motivate you, but to also educate you and give you some information that will benefit us all and help us heal to get to that next level in life. No matter what level you're on, we all have another level to get to. So it's my endeavor to help, support, build up our lack in whatever it is so we can get there. Surviving Narcissism is going to be a 3-part series breaking down these behaviors that we all need to be aware of. After you are aware of them, how to cope with them. So, they also, narcissists, do not understand the effect that their behavior has on other people. Sometimes you're sitting here pulling your hair out, screaming, hollering, getting all emotionally unbalanced because of someone else's narcissistic behavior. But do you have a part in that also? Do you also need to get a grip on your emotional maturity. Yes, you do. That's why all of these things are important to understand and to recognize our part and the other person's part so that we can grow as a person. You'll never be able to control the narcissist. You'll never be able to control anybody. But the person that you'll always be able to control is yourself. You'll always be able to give yourself more knowledge. Knowledge comes from research, prayer, understanding, wisdom. That's what you can give yourself. And that's what I aim to be to you today. It's a little bit of a boost. All right, so it's important to note that narcissism is a trait, but it can also be a part of a larger personality disorder. Not every narcissist has a narcissistic personality disorder, NPD, as narcissism is a spectrum. People who are at the highest end of the spectrum are those that are classified as NPD, but others still with narcissistic traits may fall on the lower end of the narcissistic spectrum. So people who show signs of narcissism can often be very charming and charismatic. Very charming and charismatic. They often don't show negative behavior right away, especially in relationships. People who show narcissism often like to surround themselves with people who feed their ego. They build relationships to reinforce their ideas about themselves, even if these relationships are superficial. A lot of narcissists has superficial relationships, not real friends. Because real friends will call you out and tell you about yourself. But you can't tell everybody about themselves, especially when they got a little glitch, because you don't know their reactions. So you need to know how to deal with them. Now, like anything, there's types of narcissists. There are two different types, and the two types can have common traits, but come from different childhood experiences. The two types also dictate the different ways people will behave in their relationship. So the grandiose narcissism, that's people that are most likely treated as if they were superior. They were lifted up as a child. They were thought of as all that and then some, whether they deserved any kind of praise or not. Those with grandiose narcissism are aggressive, they're dominant, and exaggerate their importance. They are very self-confident, and they aren't sensitive. Now, there's also another type called a vulnerable narcissism. A vulnerable narcissism, okay? Now, vulnerable narcissism, this behavior, is usually the result of childhood neglect or abuse. So narcissism comes in two types. You have the grandiose narcissism from children who were praised way too much as a child and lifted up in their minds that they're more than what they really are. And then you have the vulnerable narcissism who, as a result, they had neglect or abuse as a child. And people with this behavior were muted and more sensitive. Narcissist behavior helps to protect them against feelings of inadequacy. Even though they go between feeling inferior and superior to others, they feel offended or anxious when others don't treat them as if they are special. So, signs of narcissism. Narcissism is still being studied and explored. And since many narcissist people with NPD don't seek treatment, there are some common traits of people with narcissistic behavior that you may be able to spot. A lot of people don't seek treatment, so there are a lot of people with NPD walking around. That sense of entitlement, that manipulative behavior, that need for admiration all the time, lack of empathy, arrogance. You always feel like you're explaining yourself to a narcissist. You always feel like they have to have the upper hand in a sense. This is just the beginning, you guys. There's so much more in part 2 and 3. We are going to talk about once you recognize narcissism, once you recognize maybe if you are even narcissistic, what do you do about it? How do you cope with it? How do you survive it? Especially those people are close to you. Stay tuned for part 2 of Surviving Narcissism.